Part 57. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 561. Huang Zhong Huang Hans Hung? Hearing the other party's introduction, Wang Bodang couldn't help being slightly startled. As a person with extremely high attainments in archery, how could he not know about the 5 tiger generals under Liu Bei's command? And even the official positions are quite similar, except that Huang Zhong under Liu Bei is the 5 tiger general, the rear general, while the one in front of him is the 5 dragon general, the right general. In addition, both of them are good at archery and are quite old, so it is inevitable that Uncle Wang will want to go together. But he just thought about it and thought it was just a coincidence. After all, it has been hundreds of years since the Eastern Han Dynasty and the Three Kingdoms period. How could this Huang Zhong be the Huang Zhong from hundreds of years ago? So, after a brief moment of confusion, Wang Bodang raised his bow and arrow and said to Huang Zhong, "Old general, the battlefield is merciless, and the sword has no eyes. Be careful." After saying this, Wang Bodang loosened his grip on the bowstring, then 3 sharp arrows shot towards Huang Zhong in the shape of pin. After all, he was a master of archery. Once he made a move, it was a move that ordinary people could not resist, let alone use. And unlike the 3 arrows shot by the longbow soldiers, which were scattered indiscriminately, Wang Bodang's 3 arrows were aimed at Huang Zhong, ajna, throat, and heart. Upon seeing this, Huang Zhong knew that this man was indeed a master of arrows, so he shouted, "Well done." Then he also pulled out 3 arrows from the arrow pot, took aim, and took them out. In the blink of an eye, the 6 sharp arrows hit each other accurately and shattered at the same time. In the first round of the confrontation, Wang Bodang accurately blocked Wang Bodang's attack, and then Huang Zhong's attack should have been broken by Wang Bodang. Now that Uncle Wang has figured out the technique of 1 bow and 3 arrows, it proves that he must be able to crack it. It is obviously useless to use this technique again, so Huang Zhong directly took out 7 sharp arrows from the arrow pot and shot them with extremely fast speed. Shoot towards Wang Bodang at high speed. These 7 sharp arrows were connected into one. From Wang Bodang's perspective, he could only see the front one. If someone doesn't know and just thinks that an arrow is shooting at him, even if the first arrow blocks it, the next 6 will definitely take away that person's life. Faced with such a terrifying move, Wang Bodang's face also showed a trace of seriousness, but he was not worried. He just silently took out 7 arrows and broke Huang Zhong's 7-star chain one by one. After breaking Huang Zhong's 7-star chain, Wang Bodang continued to draw arrows and counterattacked with the 9-star chain. Good archery. After seeing the 9 arrows shot by Wang Bodang in a straight line, Huang Zhong couldn't help but admire him. After all, this was the first time he had seen someone able to shoot the 9-star arrows, even Taishi Sahi. Liu Buletin can only achieve 7 stars at most. From this point of view, Wang Bodang's archery skills are indeed very good, and he is worthy of his title of White Arrow. Although he always praises him, he still has many skills in his hands. Without stopping at all, he also used his 9-star cascade to break the arrows shot by Wang Bodang one by one. At this time, Li Jianchang, Li Jing, Fang Xianling, and others on the Lucca City wall, as well as Liu in the Dragon Kingdom camp who retreated into the formation, Feng He and Li Ziyuning, who had not participated in the battle, were also attracted by the duel between Wang Bodang and Huang Zhong. Li Jiancheng and others had fought with Weigong village, so they naturally knew Wang Bodang's archery skills. Please read the ununderlined version of the novel. Download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 562. Lu Feng also had a new understanding of Wang Bodang's archery skills. Although he had already heard about the name of the white-robed divine arrow and knew that he was the best archery master in the world, after seeing Huang Zhong's archery skills, Lu Feng felt that Huang Zhong's archery skills should be from ancient times to the present. There are few enemies. If I have to say, maybe the archery skills of Li Guang, the flying general of the Western Han Dynasty, can compete with Huang Zhong. In Lu Feng's opinion, Wang Bodang thought that since his name was not among the 18 heroes of the Sui and Tang dynasties, his archery skills were at most the level of Taishi Ci or Lu Buletin. Although Taishi Ci and Lu Buletin are also masters of archery, they can be said to be ranked behind Huang Zhong and among the top 3 archery masters during the Three Kingdoms period. However, compared to Huang Zhong, they are still somewhat inferior. Just like the 18 heroes in the world of Sui and Tang dynasties, although Yuan Chengdu and Pei Yuanqing were ranked second or third and could kill other generals in an instant, fighting against Li Yuanba, who was ranked first, was still like a worm shaking a tree. But after the current duel between Wang Bodang and Huang Zhong, Lu Feng discovered that people with great reputations do have their own advantages. Although he felt that Wang Bodang might not be able to defeat Huang Zhong, at least his archery skills better than Lu Buletin and Taishi Ci. It's time for me to take action again, General Wang, be careful. Lu Feng was still thinking about the duel between Huang Zhong and Wang Bodang over there. After cracking Wang Bodang's 9 stars chain, Huang Zhong reminded Wang Bodang, took out a bow and arrow and pointed at Wang Bodang. Bodang shot. Originally it was just an ordinary arrow, but Huang Zhong shot the second arrow without stopping. What is surprising is that this second arrow was obviously shot from behind, but it was shot in a more special way. It was faster than the first arrow. But it was not over yet. While Li Jiancheng and Lu Fengren were studying the second arrow, the third arrow surpassed the first 2 arrows at a faster speed and took the lead. Then, the fourth arrow and the third arrow, the 5 arrows flew towards Wang Bodang in the form of, surpassing the previous arrows in the front. After the 5 arrows, Huang Zhong stopped, and continued to take deep breaths to calm his violently panting chest. Obviously, this time, although the 5-star Lianzi had 4 fewer arrows than the 9-star Lianzi just now, it consumed more of his energy. As for Wang Bodang, he also looked at the 5 sharp arrows flying towards him with a solemn expression. He knew, in order for the arrow shot from behind to be in a leading position over the arrow in front, it is necessary to let the arrow behind have greater kinetic energy. In other words, among the 5 arrows flying toward you now, the one in front has extremely terrifying power. If you can't see this clearly and treat Huang Zhong's attack like an ordinary 5-star chain, you will definitely fail miserably on the spot. He must simultaneously contact the order of the 5 arrows in the air. Combined with the order of Huang Zhong's shooting, and even the distance between each arrow, we can judge how much power Huang Zhong used on the last arrow. As long as the power of each of his arrows is greater than this, if the arrow is powerful, it will definitely be able to break Huang Zhong's attack. Thinking of this, Wang Bodang showed a smile on his face, took a deep breath, and shot 5 arrows in a row. Fei Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collect and recommend. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 563. People who don't a Euro trademark T know the art may have questions. Why do we need to calculate the power of the arrow at the front? Why not just use all our strength to shoot 5 arrows? Anyway, I used my full strength. If the opponent's arrow is too weak, my own arrow will be able to deal with it. If the strength is too great, it will be useless to hit with all my strength, so there is nothing I can do. There are many people who think this way, even a peerless general like Dian Wei who only knows how to use brute force and does not understand archery may think so. But people who really understand archery would not think so. After all, only power after accurate prediction and calculation is the most reliable. If the force is too small and Wang Bodang's first arrow cannot crush Huang Zhong's first arrow, then Huang Zhong's first arrow will collide with Wang Bodang's second arrow with the remaining power. Such a step-by-step accumulation will inevitably lead to a series of chain reactions, which will eventually lead to Wang Bodang's complete defeat, and he may even be killed by Huang Zhong's arrow. But if the power is too great, even though he is safe this time, it will also consume too much power, making it difficult for him to last longer in the next battle with Huang Zhong. It can also be seen from this that the duel between the two great archers Wang Bodang and Huang Zhong is not just a simple competition in archery, but also a competition in brain power. The invisible judgment in the mind is the key to the outcome of this duel. Therefore, the two of them are definitely not as simple as you shoot a few arrows and I shoot a few arrows. Every round of offense and defense is full of crises. As long as you can't keep up with your concentration, you are very likely to be defeated. At this time, Wang Bodang's 5-star shot quickly met Huang Zhong's 5-star continuation. With a bang sound, the first arrows of the two collided hard together, and then shattered at the same time. This scene also made Wang Bodang breathe a sigh of relief. Because the first arrow at the front of Huang Zhong's 5 stars chain is the most powerful, and the power contained in the following arrows gradually decreases. As long as the first arrow can be crushed, then there will definitely be no problem with the following arrows. The fact was just as Wang Bodang predicted. The second arrow, the third arrow and the fourth arrow all collided with each other without any accident and shattered together, but when the fifth arrow collided with each other, something happened. A scene that made him unbelievable. Wang Bodang originally thought that Huang Zhong's fifth arrow was shot first but at the slowest speed, which must be because the smallest force was used on this arrow, so he didn't pay attention to the last arrow at all. However, when the fifth arrows of both sides collided, Huang Zhong's arrow easily shattered Wang Bodang's arrow, and at this moment, without any warning, he suddenly accelerated towards Wang Bodang. When flying, Wang Bodang was originally shocked that Huang Zhong's fifth arrow was not broken by him, but now the arrow shot towards him at a faster speed, which shocked Wang Bodang even more. In a hurry, Wang Bodang had no choice but to draw his bow and shoot another arrow, hoping to block Huang Zhong's arrow. However, none of the arrows he had carefully prepared before could stop Huang Zhong's arrow. How could his hasty shot be so powerful at this time? To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 564. A moment later, the arrow was shattered again by Huang Zhong's fifth arrow, and continued to fly towards Wang Bodang with almost no deflection. At this time, the arrow had already flown about 5 steps away from Wang Bodang. It was obviously too late for him to shoot another arrow, so he had to sweep the long bow in his hand towards the arrow. Although the arrow was deflected from its original direction this time, it still penetrated from Wang Bodang's left arm. Moreover, due to the huge power carried by this arrow, it caused the arrow to deviate from Wang Bodang's left arm. When his left arm came out, he almost pulled him off his horse. If Wang Bodang fell off the horse with his arm injured, it was very likely that Wang Bodang would be seriously injured, so he managed to stabilize his body. As soon as he raised his head, Huang Zhong's red blood knife was already on his neck. Superior. The moment Wang Bodang's fifth arrow was shattered, Huang Zhong knew that his plan was successful, so he put away his iron bow and rode towards Wang Bodang. Although the distance between the two sides is about 100 steps, Huang Zhong's Liaowenhuo is a top-notch war horse, so the distance of 100 steps can be reached in an instant. Although Huang Zhong could shoot another arrow and kill Wang Bodang on the spot, the opponent was also a master-level figure with extremely high attainments in archery, so Huang Zhong naturally felt sympathy. He put the knife on Wang Bodang's neck, and then said calmly, "General Wang, you have lost. Dismount and surrender. With your archery skills, you will naturally be put to great use by His Majesty in the Romance of Sui and Tang dynasties. Uncle Wang Dang had been working with Li Mi in Weigong village, but Weigong was finally conquered by Li Shimin. Li Shimin thought of Wang Bodang's great talent and wanted him to join him, and even knelt down to him. Li Shiman's move can be said to have given Wangbodang enough face, but the loyal minister did not care about the two masters and would rather be killed than loyal to Li Shiman again, so he died in the end. However, due to the arrival of Lu Feng in this life, Yu Wenhuaji defeated Li Mi, causing Li Mi to take the Weigong generals to join the Tang dynasty. Wangbodang, who had already served the two masters, was not as strong as before. In addition, Huang Zhong's archery skills completely conquered him, so that he didn't care at all about Huang Zhong's words at this time, let alone the knife on his neck. He raised his left arm, glanced at the bloody hole shot by Huang Zhong, and smiled bitterly at Huang Zhong. Old General Wang's archery skills are at the pinnacle, and I am convinced that I lost. But there is still one thing that is unclear. It stands to reason that it is said that since General Huanga Euro trademark's last arrow contained such huge power and was the first to be shot, why was it the slowest, and how did it accelerate again after shattering the arrow below? This problem has been bothering Wangbodang since he was shot through his left arm by Huang Zhong. If the first arrow had such power, he would naturally be able to easily calculate it and use his maximum strength to resist it. However, Huang Zhong hit it at the end, which caused Wangbodang to misjudge and was ultimately defeated by this arrow. Huang Zhong also admired Uncle Wang's archery skills at such a young age, so he smiled and said this does require the use of some special skills, which requires the control of strength to the level of using one's arms and fingers. If General Wang join the Dragon Kingdom, and His Majesty will definitely have a way for you to reach this level. Fei Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collect and recommend. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 565. When Wangbodang heard what Huang Zhong said, he thought that this was Huang Zhong's unique skill. Naturally, he was unwilling to tell the specific reason why he was defeated by his own men, so he sighed and said nothing. In fact, this is not because Huang Zhong is hiding something secret, but because Huang Zhong really has no way to explain the reason to Wangbodang, because this skill was not developed by him himself, but only after the transfer in the transfer hall. In other words, this is one of his job transfer skills that can control the speed and power of the arrow when it is fired, and even change the power of the arrow again during its flight. For Wangbodang, who didn't know the existence of the transfer hall at all, he really didn't know how to explain this kind of thing to Wangbodang. After all, it was too mysterious. However, Huang Zhong looked at Wangbodang's expression and guessed that he must have misunderstood his thoughts and thought that he was unwilling to tell him the truth. If the other party was an ordinary general, Huang Zhong would naturally not care what he thought, but Wangbodang had such a high achievement in archery, and he couldn't help but challenge him when he saw that he thought he was outstanding in archery. It must be the same. A man obsessed with archery. It just so happened that Huang Zhong, who had lived for most of his life, was also the most obsessed with archery and swordsmanship, so he had a feeling of hatred towards Wangbodang. In addition, Wangbodang wanted to challenge him at the beginning, and spared his efforts to express his opinions, just to attract his attention, instead of directly attacking him. After explaining the situation, he also took the initiative to apologize, which also proved that he character. Since the other party has superb archery skills and good character, Huang Zhong naturally hopes that he can join the Dragon Kingdom and serve under Lu Feng, so that the two of them will have the opportunity to compete in archery in the future. When he saw Wangbodang's expression, he felt a little flustered. He was worried that Wangbodang deliberately refused to tell him the reason and refused to submit to the Dragon Kingdom. That was fine. So Huang Zhong explained, actually, this kind of control over power is very mysterious. I really don't know how to explain it to you in detail, but I definitely didn't mean not to tell you to blackmail you into submitting to the Dragon Kingdom. In fact, I have used this kind of technology before. No, I only mastered it after His Majesty's guidance, so I just said that if you join the Dragon Kingdom, Your Majesty will let you achieve such achievements. Wang Bodang was a little moved when he heard Huang Zhong's explanation. From Huang Zhong's words, he felt the sincerity of the other party. He also knew that with Huang Zhong's state of mind, he would definitely disdain to explain anything to others, but the fact that he could explain it to himself in such detail was enough to prove that he was absolutely sincere to him. After Wang Bodang understood this, he nodded towards Huang Zhong, indicating that he knew Huang Zhong's intention, and sighed at the same time. After all, he was only a defeated general from now on, and he didn't know whether the Dragon Emperor would reuse him. But even if he doesn't reuse him, as long as he can follow Huang Zhong as a deputy general, it will be enough. As for Li Tang, although he is now Li Tang's vanguard general, he has no loyalty to Li Tang or to Li Jiancheng at all. If Huang Zhong directly defeated Wei Gong and he was defeated and captured from Wei, then he might have preferred death over surrender because of his loyalty to Li Mi. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 566. However, Li Mi had taken the lead in surrendering to the Tang dynasty, so he was no longer the only lord in Wang Bodang's heart. Moreover, after surrendering to the Tang dynasty, Li Shimin still admired Wang Bodang very much as in the original history. Without Li Mi between the two, Wang Bodang also felt the kindness of knowing Li Shimin. It can be said that the reason why Wang Bodang was loyal to the Tang dynasty was actually to Li Shimin, not Li Jiancheng. On the contrary, he, like Qin Kaiyan, Chen Yaojin, and others, was a staunch supporter of Li Shimin and hoped that Li Shimin would eventually succeed. Big Seed. Moreover, Wang Bodang is different from Chen Yaojin, Yu Qigong, and others. Although he has the martial arts of a top military general, especially his archery skills, he is not a fool. On the contrary, he was actually the champion of both civil and military affairs in the late Sui dynasty. He was the #1 scholar in both the imperial examination and the military examination. He was a truly wise general with both civil and military skills. Although Wang Bo's title of being the top scholar in martial arts is indeed somewhat watery, he is a real top scholar in terms of strategy and calculation, and he naturally has his own views on political struggles. Precisely because of this, he had naturally guessed that the death of King Qin Li Shimin must be related to Li Jiancheng, but he had no evidence to prove this. Under such circumstances, if you stand up and accuse Li Jiancheng rashly, not only will you not be able to reverse the case for Li Shimin, but you will also lose your life. After all, Li Shimin is dead and Li Jiancheng has become the emperor. Even if he jumps out and points out that Li Jiancheng is the murderer, what can he do? If Li Jiancheng was also pulled from the throne, who else would be qualified and capable to lead the Tang dynasty to unify the world? Naturally, many civil and military officials loyal to the Tang dynasty would not watch the Tang dynasty sink. They would protect Li Jiancheng and get rid of themselves. Therefore, Wang Bodang had no choice, to stay in Datang and serve Li Jiancheng, or to leave. But which force in the world is Datang's opponent? Prior to this, although Wang Bodao had many military generals in the Dragon Kingdom and the army was extremely powerful, he did not think that the Dragon Kingdom could defeat the Tang dynasty because it had too few troops. If so, if he leaves the Tang dynasty and seeks refuge in another country, after Li Jiancheng captures that country, he will still fall into the hands of Li Jiancheng, and he will definitely lose his life by then. Moreover, Wang Bodang had a strong sense of loyalty to the emperor. As one minister did not serve two masters, it was naturally impossible for him to leave the Tang dynasty and join other princes. But at this time, he was defeated and captured, and Li Yuanba's words just now completely confirmed his guess. He had no loyalty to Li Jiancheng, so he naturally had no objection to returning to the dragon-subduing kingdom, and he would not be loyal to Li Jiancheng to the death. At this time, the generals of the Tang dynasty saw Wang Bodang defeated and captured. While they were amazed at Huang Zhong's superb archery skills, they felt a little regretful about Wang Bodang's defeat. But Li Jiancheng didn't think so. At this moment, his face was as dark as water, his eyes were blazing, and in his heart, he cursed Huang Zhong and Wang Bodang thousands of times. The battle had just begun, but the sharp archers of the Tang dynasty were defeated in the archery duel and captured on the spot. This once again dealt a blow to the momentum of the already low morale of the Tang dynasty soldiers. Just when Wang Bodang was defeated and captured, and Huang Zhong escorted him back to the Dragon Kingdom formation, the battlefield on the other side also changed. Feeler reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 567. Pei Yuanqing and other generals also led the Tang dynasty's 2 million army through the range of the longbowmen's bows and fought with the Dragon Kingdom's army. With the blessing of the traditional jade seal fused with the many lucky golden dragon, the Dragon Kingdom's army of 100,000 has increased in strength day by day. Now it has become a 5th-level military force capable of hundreds of battles, while the soldiers of the Tang dynasty are only 2nd-level elites. Force. Therefore, the fighting gap between the two sides cannot be reflected in the number of people at all. In front of the Dragon Kingdom's army, the soldiers of the Tang dynasty were almost powerless to fight back. In addition to the 100,000 ordinary soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom, Lu Buledin led the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry, Dian Wei led the Longwu soldiers, Zhao Yun led the White Horse Yi Kong, as well as Zhang Liao, Su Huang, and Zhang He also rushed to the front. Among them, the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry led by Lu Buledin rushed to the front first. Under the leadership of Lu Buledin, the Bingzhou Wolf Cavalry really rushed towards Li Tang's army like hungry wolves who saw food. As 7th-level soldiers, although they only have 3,000 people, their combat effectiveness is by no means weaker than that of an army of 300,000 people. Especially with the impact of horses, they are as invincible as wolves among sheep. Following closely behind were the 3,000 white horse followers led by Zhao Yun. Like Zhao Yun, they rode white horses, wore silver helmets and silver armor, and also used spears as weapons, but they had an extra longbow in their hands. As the main force used by Gongsun to resist the foreign tribes in Yuzhu, the cavalry and archery ability of Beima Yikong was even stronger than that of the Xianbei cavalry. Gongsun was able to suppress the Wuhuan in Yuzhu precisely because of the archery skills of Beima Yikong and marksmanship. Therefore, when in contact with the army of the Tang dynasty, Beima Yikong has been wandering around shooting arrows under the leadership of Zhao Yun. Because the Dragon Kingdom army was in close combat with the soldiers of the Tang dynasty, they had already stopped shooting arrows, while Yikong, a white horse, relied on his flexibility to move around and shoot arrows around the soldiers of the Tang dynasty. Although in terms of professionalism in archery, white horses are never as good as longbowmen, but with the blessing of war horses, their bows and arrows are stronger than longbowmen, and the distance is closer and more accurate. Therefore, Beima Yikong had already posed a great threat to the Tang army before he came into contact with the Tang dynasty. When the generals of the Tang dynasty reacted and rushed towards the white horse Yikong with their soldiers, they found that the melee combat ability of this cavalry was more terrifying than bows and arrows. Following the white horse Yikong were Dian Wei and the 3,000 dragon warriors he led. Although the dragon soldiers are heavy infantry, which can be seen from their equipment, their speed is not slow at all. Thanks to the strong physical fitness of the Longwu soldiers, they can still walk quickly even if they wear 3 layers of heavy armor, a huge shield, a halberd hand crossbow and 20 crossbow arrows. Like Beima Yikong, Longwu also used crossbows to clear the way before confronting the Tang dynasty's army. However, they are all crossbows, but the arrows fired by the white horse Yikong, the longbow soldiers and the dragon warriors are very different. The main advantage of longbowmen is their long range, and they can shoot 3 arrows with one bow, so they do not pursue accuracy. Their main tactical role is to suppress the opponent's attack through indiscriminate shooting. It is precisely because of this that longbowmen generally shoot upward at a 45-degree angle. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 568. Of course, if the distance is short and precise shooting is required, longbowmen can shoot more accurately than any archery unit. The advantage of the white horse Yikong is that they are a shock cavalry. The war horses can make their actions more flexible and inflict maximum damage on their opponents while advancing and retreating freely. As for the dragon soldiers, they have the most powerful firepower. The crossbows they are equipped with are far more powerful than ordinary crossbows, and their crossbows are hard enough to provide them with huge penetration capabilities. Therefore, Longwu soldiers generally shoot flatly at densely populated areas to ensure that the crossbow arrows can penetrate the bodies of 3 to 4 enemy soldiers one after another and cause maximum damage to the enemy. Therefore, when the dragon warriors appear on the battlefield, every shot they make can easily plunge the enemy into the deepest panic. After 2 rounds of shooting by the 3,000 dragon warriors, Datang's 2 million army already numbered nearly 20,000. And when the Tang army finally reached Long Wush's side, they thought they could form an alliance. When faced with the fate of being massacred, they found even more despairingly that the weapons in their hands could not break through the infantry's defense, and instead they were easily killed by their halberds. As for the generals leading these troops, they are all extremely brave. Zhao Yun holds a gentian bright silver spear and rushes left and right, but none of his generals can match him. As a half-step Wuji warrior, Lu Buletin's strength is comparable to that of Yuan Chengdu. Fang Tian can take away a person's life with one sweep of his halberd. As for Dian Wei, as an infantry general, he fought to his heart's content among the 2 million troops of the Tang dynasty. He even fired his black iron halberds from left to right, making the enemy intimidated. The 3 generals Zhang Liao, Su Huang, and Zhang He, as the leaders of the 5 tigers, are also highly skilled in martial arts and unstoppable. Zhang Liao's yellow dragon hook scythe was like a death scythe, harvesting Tang's life to its heart's content. Su Wang's frost snow rolling cloud axe could cut a person in half with every slash. Zhang He's gun was equally elusive, sealing his throat with blood. Under the leadership of the 6 fierce generals, the soldiers of the country were like tigers emerging from the cage, fighting bravely among the Tang army, accompanied by the tragic cries of the soldiers of the Tang army. Li Jiancheng, Li Jing, and others on the city wall were all dumbfounded when they saw that the 100,000-strong army of the Dragon Kingdom had such a strong fighting power. They never thought that there would be such a powerful army in this world. Almost every soldier in the Tang army could at least become a mid-level general. How did Lu Fen train such an army? Not only Li Jiancheng and others, but also Li Yuanba was attracted by the deafening screams of the soldiers of the Tang dynasty, and looked in shock as the hundreds of thousands of direct troops from the Dragon Kingdom fought crazily. Although he once defeated 2 million anti-King coalition forces by himself, it was a coalition army after all. Not only were the troops inconsistent and fighting on their own, but they themselves were a ragtag group with low combat effectiveness. In comparison, the combat effectiveness of the Tang dynasty's army was naturally much stronger. Li Yuanba asked himself that if he faced 2 million Tang soldiers by himself, although he could defeat them, it would take a long time. But if he were to face the 100,000 Dragon Nation army, Li Yuanba knew that he would definitely be in great danger. After all, the combat effectiveness of this army is really terrifying. Before this, Li Yuanba had never taken any army seriously. Filu reminds you, 3 things about reading, collecting and recommending. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 569. Because in his eyes, even the most powerful Tang army today cannot stop his double hammers. Just as he had just thought, although Li Tang's army was more powerful than the armies of other princes, for him, it only took a little more effort to defeat the 2 million Tang army. After all, no matter how many troops an army has, if they can get close to him, there will always be only a few dozen people fighting with him. When these 20 people form a circle around themselves, no matter how many people behind him can squeeze in. If others want to squeeze over, they can only wait until they have destroyed all the people around them before coming to fill their seats. Therefore, as long as Li Yuanba's physical strength is sufficient, there is no difference between 100,000 enemy troops and 10 million enemy troops. After all, he has always faced more than 20 people around him. To him, these people are not what an obstacle. But at the moment when he saw the Dragon Kingdom's army fighting, Li Yuanba had to admit that he had indeed underestimated the combat effectiveness of an army. The extremely aggressive and impactful Bingzhou Wolf cavalry will make him tired of defense. The mobility and various attack methods of Beima Yikong will also make it difficult for him to hit the opponent. The super high defensive stability of Long Wuzu will undoubtedly increase the difficulty of his attacks. Putting aside these 3 legions, even the ordinary army of the Dragon Kingdom led by Zhang Liao, Su Huang, and others are equally difficult to deal with. After all, Zhang Liao, Su Huang and Zhang He were all commanders with great commanding abilities. Under their leadership, these 100,000 ordinary troops gave full play to their advantages and could cause endless trouble to the enemy with their different battle formations. Perhaps the only ones who could put pressure on Li Yuanba were the longbowmen. After all, the threat to him from bows and arrows was still limited. It's just that the longbowmen can't threaten them, and Li Yuanba can't threaten them either. After all, he can fire arrows from 200 or even 300 steps away, and there's nothing Li Yuan can do from such a long distance. As for the Dragon Kingdom camp, Jing brought Wang Bodang back to Lufeng. At this time, Wang Bodang was standing behind Huang Zhong and Lufeng, watching with shock as the Dragon Kingdom army attacked 2 million people from the Tang dynasty. The massacre of the army. Even he is considered a battle-hardened veteran, but he has never seen such a battle. After all, the Dragon Kingdom's army is too brave. Even though the Tang dynasty has 3 million troops, he still can't see it. Datang's hope of victory. While shocked, Wang Bodang was even more curious. He couldn't figure out how and when the Dragon Emperor trained such a powerful army. And according to the intelligence, the Dragon Kingdom should only have more than 20,000 direct troops. When did it become an army of 100,000? Why did they appear as if the Dragon Kingdom suddenly appeared without any warning at that time, as if they appeared out of thin air? In fact, what Wang Bodang didn't know was that he had guessed correctly. Both the 100,000 strong army at the moment and Lufeng and others had traveled from another world through the space gate and appeared out of thin air. As for Wang Bodang's death, the 100,000 Great Sui and other surrendered troops who rebelled against the king were also shocked by the strength of the Dragon Kingdom's army. If they felt excited when they heard the slogans of the Dragon Kingdom army before, they just thought it was just a good wish. To read the ununderlined version of the novel, please download Fei Lu Xiao. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 570. At this time, when they saw the battle of the Dragon Kingdom army with their own eyes, they instantly felt that their wish was not out of reach. At this moment, they hope more than ever to become true soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom, to have such strong combat effectiveness as the Dragon Emperor's direct troops, to kill all the foreign races, and to seek more benefits for the Han people. Each of them even secretly vowed that after this battle is over, they must train harder so that the Dragon Emperor can recognize themselves and incorporate themselves into the Dragon Kingdom's army, instead of just being as simple as they are now. Of furnishings. As for the city wall of Lucca, Li Jiancheng and others looked livid as they watched the battle outside the city. They thought that the Tang army would be invincible in conquering various places and unifying the north. At this moment, 3 million troops faced 100,000 more troops. It should be a breeze. Even though only 2 million were sent at this time in order to preserve their strength and prevent the Dragon Kingdom from sneak attacks, in their opinion, this number could easily defeat the Dragon Kingdom. But no one expected that the Dragon Kingdom's army would have such a powerful fighting capacity. This kind of battle cannot be won with more people. It is like an adult fighting 100 or 1,000 children who have just learned to walk. The two sides are not at the same level at all. Just when Li Jianquan's face became more and more ugly, and he didn't know when he would explode, Fang Xianling was finally the first to stand up and put forward his own suggestions. Your Majesty, the morale of our army has hit rock bottom at this time, and the combat effectiveness of the Dragon Kingdom army is too strong. At this time, it is full of momentum. We cannot continue to fight like this. Please withdraw your troops. When Li Jiancheng heard Fang Xuanling's suggestion to withdraw his troops, he looked at him affectionately, as if he would order him to be taken down if he couldn't explain the reason and was simply afraid of the Long Kingdom's military front and withdraw his troops. See. When Li Jiancheng looked at him like this, Fang Xianling was upset, but he still said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, Your Majesty, based on my advice, although the Dragon Kingdom's army is stronger than our army, they are not large in number after all. Moreover, those who really caused damage to our army were almost all cavalry. The 3 special forces also had 2 cavalry and 1 was heavy infantry. However, whether they are cavalry or heavy infantry, they will inevitably be unable to continue to exert their advantage in siege warfare. Since our army has a large number of people, we can completely rely on the power of the city wall to carry out defensive battles, so as to slowly consume the Dragon Kingdom's troops. After entering the siege battle, the main force of the Dragon Kingdom will become the infantry among the 100,000 ordinary soldiers, and these infantry seem to be only about 50,000, plus at most the 100,000 surrendered troops. Therefore, if it is in siege, no matter how powerful these 50,000 ordinary soldiers are and no matter how well equipped they are, they will still be damaged. As for the 100,000 surrendered troops, there is no need to think too much. If they also go into battle, we can concentrate our forces to kill these 100,000 surrendered troops first to improve the morale of our army. Li Jiancheng listened to Fang Xuanling's words. After a difficult ideological struggle, although he was unwilling to accept it, he finally nodded and ordered the troops to retreat. General Li Tang, who was fighting with the Dragon Kingdom army outside the city, facing such a powerful Dragon Kingdom army, they have long lost their will to fight. At this moment, when they heard the order to withdraw their troops, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Fei Lu reminds you, 3 things to do when reading, collect and recommend.